Hi, guys. Welcome back to another edition of Inside MLP Podcast. Tyson Apostle, the #1 trendsetter and godfather of pickleball podcasting, back with us as always. I'm Michelle McMahon, one of the voices of pickleball. And Tyson, big weekend for you in the pickleball world. How'd your tourney go over there in Pittsburgh?
I mean, I didn't get to watch as much pickleball this weekend because I was actually playing, which was fun. And it actually, I would say that this was the most fun I've had playing a tournament because I went in relaxed, not really caring. And we were 2-2 in the 4-0, but they started targeting my much older partner. And so I had to sneak over more and try and control more. But I did get a few ernies.
There you go. How about any Berts?
No Berts. No, I don't have the foresight. I don't have the I wish I did. I could calculate, and I feel like to get a Bert, you have to do a beautiful mind type of calculations where you see the lines of mathematics in the air with the trajectory of the ball and then can do it. So I don't have that. I'm one step below that. But it was a lot of fun, and
Good.
I got back late last night and drank a bunch of coffee to get ready for this thing. So I'm feeling pretty good. And you were at Tournament of Champions. I would say that it is a historic event, this one on the calendar, right?
Yeah, it is.
And how was Utah? How was my home state?
It was good. It was the first, I think it was the first ever paid pro tournament back in 2012. So you're right. It does have a lot of history to it. It was good to be back. A couple of key names missing. It is kind of a commute from Salt Lake. So I think a lot of pros are kind of shying away from this one for whatever reason. Rumors, maybe they might be moving it to Salt Lake next year, but I just love it. I really do. I got stuck in a ditch on other news going
I saw
for
that.
a hike.
You're not supposed to drive into ditches.
I know. Nothing to do with pickleball. But if you're a nature person, don't go venturing out by yourself for a hike in Brigham City because it really didn't look like it was a ditch. It was just like a pile of rocks. And I was trying to get out of trouble and reverse and go forward because I didn't trust myself reversing in the rocks. And then I got stuck. So anyways,
But you're here now.
I'm here now. I made it. I
made
survived. So thank you, Ian, Ethan, and the other Caden, I think is the other guy. So nice. The people in Utah are so nice.
Yeah.
I get why every Utah-based player is genuinely kind because the people there are they're very, very nice. So pickleball was great. People were even better. Can't complain. That's about it.
Sounds amazing.
Yeah. Can't wait for our guest this week. He's been on fire lately, Tyson.
Oh my gosh.
So
and not
good.
just lately, for years.
Yes.
But more and more fire, hotter and hotter.
Yes. I didn't realize that he's been pro since, I don't know about pro, but he's been playing since 14 years old, Annalie Waters. I guess she was pro 14. Anyways, great guest this week. He's got hands of gold, hand speed of gold. He's gotten a couple of golds in the last 3 weekends, and Texas Ranchers team to look out for. So we can't wait to introduce him in just a moment. And before we get started there and thank our other partners, make sure you get your season 2 tickets for MLP Atlanta. It's coming up in a month, Tyson. It's going to be so fun. September 21st through the 24th. You can get your tickets at www.majorleaguepickleballpb.net/ticks. To get your tickets, I'm telling you, it's the most fun event to be a part of. It's electric. You can't quite grasp the atmosphere until you're in it. So go get your tickets. Come hang out with us. I'll be in the broadcast booth all weekend, and the players and the action and the energy, it's second to none. And also there's celebrities there every trickling throughout the VIP tent. It's just unbelievable. Secondly, let's thank our other partners for this podcast being possible, starting with Margaritaville, Michelob Ultra, Cirkul, Toyota Prius, Dulce Vida Tequila, Hospital for Special Surgery, which hopefully nobody needs, and Sunday Swagger, Frometh Pickleball. You can visit the MLP online store at fromethpickleball.com to buy your MLP and MLP team gear specific. And this episode's about to be a good one. All right, Tyson, let's get to our awesome guest this week. He's 21 years old, the first round selection for the Texas Ranchers. He has now won 4 PPA gold medals in men doubles, including 2 in the last 3 events with a big win over Ben and Colin Johns. He played baseball, basketball, and football growing up, but not a super notable racket background, which we have to ask him about. Missouri, born and raised. It's Monday morning, everybody. Okay.
Maybe they say that somewhere like in the backwoods of Missouri. It's Missouri.
Your little accent, Missouri. Dylan Frazier joining us this week. Hi, Dylan. Thanks so much for joining us. Busy weekend for you.
Yes, thank you for having me on what is this, a podcast or?
It's both. It's a video podcast, an audio podcast, and just an online party.
Okay, thanks for having me to the party.
Yeah.
You're so welcome.
We're happy to have you. Dylan, I talked to you a while ago. We DM'd back and forth, and I had learned that you, like, pickleball was like your sport of choice as you're kind of growing up becoming an athlete, which is very, very unique right now in the landscape of pickleball. A lot of people have come from other athletic backgrounds. When did you discover pickleball? Like, how old were you?
I was 14 years old. In 2016, my mom introduced me and my dad to the sport, and while we were in Florida visiting my grandparents.
Yeah.
And we got hooked right away. And like you guys said, I had played other sports when I was growing up: baseball, basketball, football, a little bit of everything, a little bit of soccer, even when I was way young. But I was never very passionate about any of them as much as I was with pickleball, like right away. Like I never had the desire to go out and practice like any other sports. I just wanted to play the game, and, that was it. But with pickleball, it's like I wanted to play, a lot and practice and get better. So I don't know what it was about it, but I liked it a lot right away.
I would like to know what it was about it, even though you just said you don't know what it was. Come up with something for us.
Okay.
Like, what was the draw? What pulled you in?
Yeah, I think it was just the fact that it was so much easier to get better at, I guess, or easy for me quickly. I quickly got better. Like there was a lot of room for improvement right away. So like, my growth level right away was like, nearly vertical. And there's just so many things that you could do to immediately get better at the sport that were identifiable and, easy to work on yourself. And there were lots of the pickleball community too is great, especially here in Columbia, Missouri. Everybody was super welcoming and encouraging, and everybody was excited too at the time to have like some, younger kid playing with the group, because at the time, like the average age of a pickleball player was way higher than it is now. And so for someone my age to be playing with the group was unique, and so there was a lot of, attention behind that. And everybody kind of wanted to play with me, even though I was only like a 3.5 at the time. But I think maybe a little combination of all those things made me excited about it.
And was that exciting for you to play with all these older people? Like, are you an old soul?
Yeah, maybe. I think to some extent, yeah. But I remember like the first time I played at this rec center while we were in Florida. There was like a bunch of 60-plus-year-old people playing. I was like, it was my first time playing. I was probably like a 3.0 level, but I was like able to go in there and hang with some of the locals that were playing there. And everybody's like, wow, this kid's really good. Like he's beating all of us. And I was like, man, I must be like a prodigy or something. I was really like just a 3.0 player, but to have all that hype around it when I first started really got me excited. Even though in hindsight, I was very, very, very bad.
I can't imagine a 3-0 Dylan Frazier. At what point did you realize you had the incredible hand speed that you now possess, especially without that racket sport background? It's like, how were you able to develop that to such a profesh level?
Yeah, well, I think immediately when I started playing, I had never had like super big, swings or strokes on my shots. Like everything when I first started playing was just out in front of my body, which is helpful for like hand speed. I mean, I didn't have super fast hands when I started playing, and I couldn't even hit the ball cleanly every time I wanted to. But not having like the habit to break of like having a backswing in tennis, or like doing the carve volley that you see them do in tennis. I didn't have any of those habits to break, so I had a little bit of a head start in that department, but some areas to catch up on in other areas.
So what were those areas that you had to catch up on from the
like
racket?
ground strokes and play from the baseline mostly. Like at the kitchen line was awesome. And also I've played with some other like Division I college baseball players, and all of them pick up the kitchen game really fast, and they've got really good hands. But then once the further away they get from the kitchen line, the harder it becomes for them to like, hit resets or hit a ground stroke drive, lob, stuff like that.
So you touched on baseball there, and we had Connor Garnett on not too long ago, and he also mentioned baseball. What is it about baseball that do you think is advantageous there at the kitchen?
I don't know. The hand-eye coordination, obviously, for baseball players, that's huge in baseball, so they're not going to have any trouble with that right away. The reaction time's always really good because, they've got to hit 100-mile-per-hour fastballs at times coming to the plate at them. So they always seem to see the ball like slowly, like everything is happening slowly to them. And so I think that's why they have fast hands, and then they're just able to make contact with it. At the kitchen line, anybody can go up there and slap a ball. So if you have good hand-eye coordination and you can see it coming to you, you can perceive it like the baseball players can, then you're in pretty good shape.
So you discovered the sport at 16.
14.
And at 14.
14.
At 14.
Don't sell them short. That's two
Sorry,
extra
that
years.
is 2 extra years of experience. You, at what point were you like, I can be pro, or I want to be pro, and I'm going to dump time into this? Was that like almost immediate, or?
It was close to the beginning, because I think I found out about, I don't even know if there was like a pro landscape, I guess, for pickleball when I first started, but it wasn't like anything organized like MLP or PPA or anything like that. When I first started playing, the best player in the world was Kyle Yates, and someone told me, like, I didn't even know that pro pickleball existed until I was out there in Florida playing, and someone mentioned Kyle was the best player in the world, and he lived in like Fort Myers, like an hour away from where we were or something like that. And so that kind of got my attention. I was kind of excited to check that out. And then I got on YouTube and was looking at everything. I saw, Dave Weinbach, Daniel Moore, Wes Gabrielson, Chris Miller, like a lot of the, Puppet Master, a lot of the OGs of the game were playing. And they kind of did have like I guess a pro circuit, although at the time I think it was just called 5.0. I don't know if it was being designated as pro yet or not. I'm not sure. But I watched a lot of those guys play, and that was pretty exciting. And Dave Weinbach was from the Midwest, and so when I started playing tournaments, like, he was the guy that I saw pretty early. He was like the first pro player that I saw when I went to travel to play in a tournament, and so that was pretty cool. But once I started watching those guys play, I started studying the game a little bit and just trying to get better at it initially. And then once I started like winning some tournaments, I don't think my goal was ever to like get to pro level, but just gradually get better, maybe get to 5.0, I think was the initial goal. And then I played like one pro tournament and did okay in it. Like I was 2-2 maybe. Played with my mom in mixed doubles, which was fun. And then at that point, after the very first pro tournament, I was like, okay, yeah, let's give it a shot. Let's go for it.
At what age was this?
I'm trying to remember. It took me a long time to get to that point. It might have been like, I was maybe 18 or 19. Yeah.
Okay. So at this point, you're floating on this like pro pickleball career, but you're also, I understand, going to college at this point too, or deciding that route. So walk us through that part of your life of how you were able then to balance both in that phase.
Yeah. Classes actually just started today for me. So it's
So you're still in school then?
still in school. Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
If I took a full semester's worth of classes, credit hours, then I would be on pace to graduate this year. I'm a senior technically.
Okay.
But I've cut back on classes a little bit to help kind of manage the pickleball schedule. So right now I'm on pace to graduate in 2 years, doing 2 classes at a time online. I started out doing, five classes at a time, the full amount. And that was not easy to do, especially later, like when I got more serious about playing pickleball and was like playing 20 to 30 events per year. And then doing school on top of that was really tough. So I did that for like my sophomore and junior year or freshman, sophomore year. And then my junior year, I switched to online and was doing fewer classes to help with that.
Okay, what's been the reception from your college buddies of Dylan Frazier, college boy by day, pickleball player by night?
Yeah, they understand it. It doesn't get a whole lot of attention, I guess, by like
Really?
Yeah.
You gotta get like an event down there or something.
Yeah, the University of Missouri, they've just recently started a pickleball club, so they've got a
Okay.
few players that, but I bet if you asked most of the students here on campus, they probably wouldn't even know what pickleball was. Maybe, I don't know.
Are you going to
They
join
probably
the
know what it
pickleball?
was, but they wouldn't know like
That
the
they're
whole
amongst a
scheme of things.
superstar.
Yeah.
Are you going to join the pickleball club? Like mustache, glasses, wig,
Yeah.
and
Just
go in
hustle
and
some
just,
people on
just
the
crush.
side.
You
Yeah.
should. That'd
Yeah.
be so funny.
That would
Yeah.
be funny. I wouldn't
Like-
even need to. I wouldn't even need to wear a disguise though. Like,
Yeah, that's
they
true.
wouldn't recognize me.
Do a man on the street like type of like, hey, let's go play a game of pickup, and then just school
Yeah.
him.
Yeah.
I like that. So what was it like as like you said, Dave Weinbach was like the first pro you saw in person. And now where you're at, is that like surreal to kind of be playing with these guys or even surpassing these guys? Is that like, there's got to be something to like, these were your heroes in a sense, and now you're crushing them.
Yeah. No, it is for sure. It's wild. Like, I was looking up to all these people, and when I was first starting, and now I'm like playing against them. So that like the first pro tournament I played, I was just super excited to be on the court with a lot of the players. And then, as I kept playing and getting a little bit better, then the goal became to beat these guys, obviously on a consistent basis. And so that was kind of cool, that transformation. But yeah, it's been a fun ride.
Yeah, we've enjoyed watching it. And one thing recently that I think we've had fun watching is you switching up partners a little bit at some of these tournaments.
Uh-huh.
Do you like doing that? Is that like, what is your goal there?
Yeah, I mean, I think if you look at a lot of the most successful teams right now on the tours, it's partnerships that have been together for a long time and have a lot of tournaments under their belt. So I think it's important to have a steady, consistent partner that you're playing with on a regular basis. JW and I kind of formed that partnership at the beginning of this year, kind of committed to playing a year together, seeing how it went, and then deciding from there. And so far, it's been successful. And I feel like, in my opinion, our level is getting higher and higher every time we play together. And kind of having someone on your side that you've played with a lot, so you know exactly what they're going to do, it makes a big difference to me, especially in games that come down to just a few points. Just having someone, you know what the strategy is, you know where they're going to hit it, they know where you're going to hit it, you're just on the same page the entire time is super helpful. But I have switched it up a lot, and mixed doubles, I haven't, the females were harder to lock down for a larger, consistent amount of tournaments at the beginning of the year. So I have been switching it around there. Next year, my goal is to find someone to, like one or two players maybe to play with for the entire year, as opposed to 5, 6, or 7 different partners. But we'll see what happens. I do like mixing it up. Playing with different people is fun, but I think the end goal is to find someone that you play well with and that you have good chemistry with, and then maybe just commit to them for longer periods of time.
What was it like being a part of the in the middle of the breakup, inserting yourself with Matt Wright?
Yeah, I didn't really think too much of it. That's the tournament I played with Matt. Riley did not play, so it's not like we had a chance to play him. If we would have played him, then maybe I would have been caught up in that all that drama or whatever was going on between them. But he was not at that tournament, so really it was just like any other tournament, except I was playing with someone new.
Would you and Matt have beat Riley?
Yeah.
It's a sore topic right now with everything that has transpired since. Before we get to MLP stuff, off court question for you. I know you have 3 adopted siblings, as if I'm not mistaken, and you mentioned your mom a lot. Obviously, your family's very close. What's your family life like? What's your upbringing? What does that system mean to you?
Yeah, my parents are amazing, and they've supported me throughout my entire pickleball career. And I'm really close to my parents. Like we've got a really good relationship, so I'm very happy and fortunate to have that. My dad's birthday is actually today,
Oh,
and so we celebrated yesterday at his house. So I'm living in an apartment now, like 15 minutes from home, so I'm really close. So I go there
nice.
oftentimes on the weekends, like just to go hang out with them and maybe some buddies. We've got a court at our house, so we can play some pickleball together, game
Oh, that's
night, movie
awesome.
night, whatever.
Love that.
But we hang out a lot, and I definitely value our relationship, my relationship with my parents, like definitely key to my success and upbringing. And really everywhere in Missouri here, at the whole pickleball community, especially Columbia and St. Louis has been really supportive of my pickleball journey and trying to help out any way they can, helping me find places to stay on the tour or like connecting me to people that they know that they think could help me in some way with pickleball. So just super fortunate to have that supportive community that I have around me. And yeah, my parents and I decided to adopt my 3 siblings now in 2011. So they've been with us for a while now.
Wow.
But everybody's moved out of the house now and doing their own thing. But yeah, it's good.
Cool. Love that. So, Major League Pickleball, you are a first round selection with the Texas Ranchers. And before we get to that, if you are ready for the 2023 Season 2 action, yes, the answer is yes. Tickets to MLP Atlanta coming up on September 21st through the 24th are available right now. So go ahead and get your tickets, www.majorleaguepb.net/ticks to watch Dylan Frazier in person because your team is a team to watch for many reasons. So let's dive into the draft first. You get taken by the Ranchers first round. I believe it was the 8th pick. What was your initial reaction to getting selected at that point with this particular team?
Just super excited. I didn't know what was going to happen or where I was going to get drafted. I thought, it could have, yeah, I just didn't know what to expect. So, but I was super excited when I got drafted, obviously. And I have talked to Tim Klitsch before, owner of the Ranchers. And so we've talked a few times at previous MLP events, and he seems like a really great guy and great team owner. So I was excited to be on his team. And, yeah, I think my plan was if I did get drafted the first round to go. My plan the whole time was I think to go girl, and then guy in the next few rounds. And Tim and Evan, the president of the team, they were both on board with that. Um, and so we got Georgia and Lauren and Travis, and I'm really excited. I think we're gonna do pretty well together.
Yeah, I would love to dive into that 4th round selection with Travis Rettenmeier. There was some speculation made about whether Travis was a premier level player, if he was challenger, and the whole team ownership stuff. So, what was the logic behind that? How high was he on the list of guys that you had in the 4th round? And if it wasn't Travis, who else would you have taken?
Yeah, Travis was very high on my list personally. Like when I was just writing down all the different guys that I'd want on my team, Travis was pretty high on my list. I think he could have even gone, 3rd round. So I think he fell a little bit further than I was expecting to. Like when we got Lauren, when we drafted Lauren, we were like, okay, 4th guy who's available, and Travis for me was definitely sticking out between all the guys, and I didn't think he was going to make it to the point where we got to pick him. Like I thought he was going to get picked up sooner than that, and he didn't. So I was pretty excited about that. Travis is he's an awesome competitor. Obviously, he has a high level tennis background. I'm not sure exactly like um, what his level was. Or I mean, I know he was like a pro, like top
Top six,
37, top
top
60,
top
top
50,
60,
top
top
60
50, top
doubles
60. Yeah,
player. Yeah.
yeah. So he's
Yeah.
gonna, I'm excited to play with him for just for that to kind of see what his mindset is in these games because used to being in high level situations and dealing with that. So I'm excited to maybe learn a little bit from him playing with him. And I also just like his style of game. So I think we're going to match up well together. And then,
and his style in general.
Yeah, his style in general. Yeah.
Can you tell us a little bit, like, tell us about all the pressures of being the number one draft pick? Like, now what is your team expecting of you, and how do you react to that?
Yeah, I think there's an expectation for the first pick to kind of, take the mantle of being the leader of the team and kind of make some decisions. And so there's that. I'm not going to go out there and like boss everybody around and be like, we got to do this, this, and this. Like, but I will probably try to make sure that everybody's on the same page and that we're communicating with each other. I think communication is huge and probably an underrated component of, pickleball in general, and especially when you get onto a team, like everybody being on the same page and, having a game plan and everybody knowing what's going to happen if X, Y, or Z happens is, I think, super important. So I think we're going to try to establish that communication and just friendly relations with each other before the first MLP event. Like after this upcoming Kansas City tournament, we're going to go to Texas. We're all meeting in Texas for a team practice. So we'll get together for 3 days. We're going to meet the owners and practice together, hang out, do stuff. So that'll be good.
I believe they have Tim has a home court in his backyard or something, and it looks like a sick setup. I think is that where all the pickleball people post their content, something like that. Anyways, going through the combinations of each of your potential teammates. So you've got women's doubles, men's doubles, and then the mixed doubles combination, whoever you decide to go with there. What's the strength of each team and underrated aspect that maybe people aren't paying attention to but should, of why Texas should be on the map? So starting with women's doubles and then take us through from there.
Yeah, I'm really excited about our women, Georgia and Lauren, because I feel like one of the most important things that you had to do when drafting an MLP team is draft for upside, like players that are still getting better. And Georgia obviously has so much. She's already an amazing player, but still has a lot of room to grow with as young as she is. And I feel like she's getting better every single tournament. And Lauren, I know, puts a lot of time into her game and focuses on it a lot, works on a lot of different things. And I feel like her level the past few tournaments has been really high. And, Lauren and I played a tournament, the Beer City tournament together. And we got second there. And I thought Lauren was playing really good, and I've been watching her recently, and she's making improvements for sure. So I think Georgia and Lauren are two people that are going to, from the first MLP event to the second, like this, they'll be a lot better by the second MLP event than they were at the first one. So, and I think that's huge, because if you look at teams that did well, at the last MLP event, it was like teams that had players that were constantly getting better. So I'm excited that we've got a team full of people that are getting better, especially the girls. And I think all of us, I haven't interacted a whole lot with Travis, but I have with Lauren and Georgia. So we're all pretty close. I know Georgia and Travis played on an MLP. They were on the same MLP team the last time. So they've already got experience playing together, which is good. Lauren and I have experience playing together in tournaments, which is good. So, I think the upside of the team is huge.
What about you and Travis as a combination together? He's a player that likes to be the aggressor, which in theory, would he play the left, you play right, I would assume? And how does that combination fit well together in your eyes?
Yeah, we've got to talk about. I'm not sure exactly what we're going to do yet, and we'll probably figure some of that out while we're in Texas training together. But yeah, I like Travis' style of play. I usually like playing with people that are aggressive and will initiate both in mixed doubles and men's doubles. And Travis is definitely not afraid to do that. And so
although you on the left would be a good combination too. So I don't know. What would be your preference?
You're the leader here. You're the leader here,
Yeah.
Dylan.
Yeah.
Tell us what you're going to do.
Well, we're going to get some games in together. We'll probably play some games in both, positions, and we'll see which one we're strongest in. I'm not, some people like to, play one side only, but I'm up for playing whatever side I think that makes us the best team. So we'll see what that is maybe after we get a few games together.
I think if I'm Travis, I'm going to say, young buck, take the left. I'll be your reset man on the right. I think he's trying to hone in on that right side, according to what he's told me recently. Which team scares you the most?
I was looking at all the teams. I feel like if I could see any team, I could see like 10 out of the 12 teams, I'd say. I could see them winning if things went right for them. Like, I feel like it's a pretty competitive field. One team that did stick out to me as maybe a front runner, like has a slight edge over other teams, was Annalise team. I'm trying to remember her team name. Utah.
That's Michelle's team too. She's saying they have the advantage. She thinks they're little.
That's a pretty
stacked.
strong team. So when they went Annalise first, they picked Annalise and then Irina. I thought maybe at that point that team was going to be a little vulnerable just because they went girl, which I thought, in my opinion, was a little risky because then you're going to get a third round and fourth round guy pick. But then they picked up Thomas and AJ, who both I felt like fell lower than they should have fallen, and so they got great value out of those picks. And AJ and Thomas are obviously both really good players that played tournaments together before. So when they got those two, I was like, oh man, that's kind of tough. That's going to be a tough team.
I agree.
But for the most part, I think everybody's got a chance to win if things go right.
So we talk a little bit about the pressures of being drafted first. What type of pressure is there? Because the Ranchers right now, I mean, everybody's in a bid to be in premier level for 2024. The Ranchers right now are sitting in 19th place, which would not make the cut for premier level for next year. Is that something that is weighing on your mind?
A little bit, yeah. But for the most part, I just kind of want to go out there and have fun and play some good pickleball. I don't feel responsible for them being in the position that they're in now because I wasn't on the team.
Okay.
The last round. So there's nothing really we can really do about that except for go out there and play good this time, which was the goal anyway. So I don't think it really changes anything for me.
What about the team that you were responsible for in season 1, the BLQK Bears? How do you feel like you guys fared with how you were? I mean, 12th, you're still in the premier level at that rate. But how do you feel? Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And they've got Tina Pisnik in Challengers. So you guys are
nice.
That team is, I think, okay. But how would you say you measured up to your potential?
With the Bears?
Yeah.
I think our team had the potential to win in the second and third events when we got Maggie back on the team, and then the second event we were close, like we got second in Daytona, and we lost to the Pioneers, who we had actually beaten earlier in pool play. So we were close. We were close there, and then the third event I felt was like a little bit of a letdown. We were 0-3, I think, in pool play, didn't make it out, and so that was, that wasn't good. And I did feel a little bit badly for Richie, who's so like invested in his MLP team, and he's a really nice guy and great team owner. So you want to perform well for him. So it did stink a little bit to not be able to get any wins for him at that last event. But we put him in a position to, he's 12th right now. So if everything stays the same, he's in premier.
Right on the cusp. I think they're tied right now with the Florida Smash, but have the edge in some way, shape, or form.
In the differentials.
Yeah, in the differential. But we'll focus on the positives for you. You got the Ranchers, clean slate. What are you most looking forward to with MLP Atlanta coming up in like less than a month? It's crazy.
Yeah. Well, for one, I've got some friends and family going.
Nice.
That don't normally go to some of the tournaments, so that's going to be exciting just to have a little bit more support there. But really just any MLP event that ever is always really exciting to play in, just because it's a little different. It's a change in pace from like the grinding PPA tour schedule. MLP events are always fun. They just change up the flow a little bit, mix it up. It's generally people have more fun with it. They're serious about it, but it's a team event and everybody seems to have a good time there. Like it's a pretty laid back and relaxed environment off the court. I feel like, like compared to regular tournaments, I feel like people come off the court after a loss and it's like pretty frustrating. Like, but at MLP, usually the mood's a little bit lighter. And I guess that it's just because you're on a team. And I don't know. I just see it as like more of a fun type event, even though like the games and matches get really competitive and people are there to win. Obviously, it's a little bit lighter than the normal tournaments, I feel like.
Yeah, you kind of touched on it. I was going to ask you what separates Major League Pickleball from just regular tournaments in your mind. But if you could pick your dream MLP team, anyone, you have access to anybody, no restrictions with rounds or whatever. I'm assuming JW would be your guy, but who would be your dream team in the ladies? Unless I'm wrong, maybe it's not JW.
No, I would pick JW, and then for the girls, I would pick Annalie and Catherine probably.
Okay.
Oh,
that
safe.
That was easy.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah. Okay. Well, I feel like that is the reason we have the snake draft, so a team like that doesn't come together. All right. So we got the full scoop from Dylan, but as you all know, Michelle, the voice of pickleball in general, if you
That's
turn
Dave
on
Fleming, but I'm close
Dave
second.
Fleming speaks. Michelle McMahon also speaks. You hear her on all of the broadcasts, and she was at Tournament of Champions in Utah all week. Do you have any MLP hot takes? What did you see? Who are we going to be looking at in Atlanta?
I've got a list, Tyson, this week, and I recently hired Dylan Frazier this week as my analyst to go down off of all these players that I have selected my Major League Pickleball players to watch of the week. And this was kind of easy in terms of like, you know, it was a little bit wider open of a draw, as Dylan will attest to. Number one for me, Tina Pisnik, making it all the way to the gold medal match in mixed doubles. Poor Tina, that Pat Smith happened to get a head injury the day before, so couldn't really be 100%. Not that, you know, who knows? It could have been a more tightly contested battle there. But California BLQ, Dylan's former team, got Tina in the first round, 12 picks. So for me, she's my number one MLP player of the weekend. What do you think, Dylan?
Yeah, she definitely performed really well, and she's relatively new to the scene, and just she's a player right now that's going to be making some gains in the next few weeks and by the end of the year. So I think by the end of the year, their BLQK is going to have a lot of value out of Tina where they picked her, and she's gonna be great.
She was the real deal. She's good. She's fun to watch.
She's a good player. Yeah.
And she's dedicated. And she's former world number 26, I think, in women's tennis. So legit racket ability. Up next is her mixed doubles partner. I would say Pat Smith made a good run for it in both men's doubles and mixed doubles. The Seattle Pioneers picked him up due to injury from Brandon French. We hope he's okay. But Pat Smith, fully healthy. Well, maybe not with the head. I told him to get in the H-spot. Supposedly that helps with concussions and ozone. But yes, I don't know. Pat Smith seems to be on the rise. At least he's pain-free everywhere else. Hopefully the brain heals within a month. What do you think? Do you agree?
I agree.
Okay.
Pat's a very good player. Great guy, great teammate too. I was like, I think for him not to be drafted in that initial Challenger League draft, he's probably the biggest snub of the entire draft, Premier and Challenger League. So happy that he's on a team now, and I think he's going to provide a lot of value to that team for sure.
And then next two, I'll go with the obvious. Catherine Parento, Tyson McGuffin. Triple crowning. Obviously no Annalie, no Ben Johns, no JW Johnson in the mix this weekend, but still Catherine took, 2 months off and comes back, looks true to form. So Tyson, I thought it was a special moment, getting his first ever Triple Crown in the place where he, I believe, spent the night in his car 7 years ago, winning his first ever pro medal, which is cool, back in 2016. So I think Miami Pickleball Club, getting him in the second round at the 13th pick, validified there. And I thought that was a special moment and player to watch in MLP. The dude has bounced back in a miraculous way. It wasn't that long ago that we were all kind of like, "Ooh, Tyson McGuffin, is he injured? Is he out?" And then he's back to peak form, peak barking form.
Yeah, Tyson is a great competitor. That's for sure. He's always a contender. Every tournament he plays in, he's going to make a run at the podium. Probably he's going to be really tough to beat. If not, I think Federico was their first round pick for Miami.
Yeah,
I was like, if I was in Federico's spot, that 12th pick, you immediately get the 13th pick. My philosophy was, you go guy. If you're a guy picked in the first round, then you should pick a girl the next round. So if I was the one exception I would probably make to that is if there was someone like a Tyson available in the second
Okay.
round, which he was. If I were Federico, I'd have done the same thing because Tyson's a great player.
That's
What
good.
was Catherine drafted? I feel like she fell a little bit further than I was thinking.
She was the 4th pick in the first round.
Okay.
So she was, No, I think she was technically, though, the Orlando squeeze went Anna before they would have taken Catherine because they traded with DC, right, Tyson, back in the order. So, I mean, Anna went 5th, but in theory, if you back up to that one. So she's with the Brooklyn Aces, first round, 4th pick, 2nd Triple Crown for her. She looks good, Dylan.
She does. She's playing really well. She's another player that works really hard on her game between tournaments. I don't know why she took her 2 months off, but I thought it was like just so that she could train a lot more, wasn't it? I think she was doing a lot of on and off the court training during that time, getting into shape. So I
think she just needed a mental break.
Yeah, probably. Yeah.
I mean, both of those guys, Catherine and Tyson, are looking extra buff right now. Like all the pictures were of them with their trainer. I think they have the same trainer, and I was like, I gotta hire this guy. Like,
I think his name is like the Stallion or something.
Yeah, is it too late for me? And also, am I serious enough to hire a guy named the Stallion to train me?
I feel like you guys it would be on brand for you.
To hire the
you have
Stallion.
the mullet too.
That is true.
But 2 Tysons with a mullet, I don't know. That might be.
He might not take me. He's like, we only have room on my clientele for one Tyson with a
one
mullet.
barking Tyson with a mullet.
Yeah.
That's all we have room for. Last one, and don't be offended, Dylan. You and J-Dub were on my list last week. These were just like newer players on the rise. Paris Todd for the Atlanta Bouncers comes in last minute for Etta Wright, takes a gold, obviously playing with Catherine Parento. And that wasn't an easy battle against Callie Smith and Elise Jones, who would also be on my list for Dallas with Dave Fleming, the GM there. But I thought Paris came in, did well, and a lot of people are down on the Bouncers because they call it Team APP or whatever, which Dylan might have an opinion on. So I think, yes, PPA has the steeper talent, but I think it's notable that Paris comes over and plays in gold medal matches consistently when she does come over, and this time won. So little kudos to them.
I was pretty curious to see how Paris was going to do. It helps to play with Catherine, with as good as Catherine is.
True.
But Paris is also a very good player herself. She wins on a regular basis on the APP tour. So I think a lot of people were kind of curious to see how she would come over and play on the PPA tour against some of the other top players, and she definitely held her own at the very least, if not more. So she did really good with that. I think she was kind of a wild card. Like at the time of the draft, you didn't really have the answer to that question, which was how would Paris compete against the PPA competition. And so at the time of the draft, it was like, I don't know, I feel like kind of an X factor to pick her. 10th I think she was. But now we see she's more than capable of competing against players on the PPA tour. So I think that's probably going to pay off.
Yeah. And then lastly, well, I know that I said that was my last one, but Dallas Pickleball Club, Dave Fleming, the real voice of pickleball. I think getting Jay Devilier number 1 in the 4th round. A lot of people were down on this pick too, of like Jay Devilier's levels dropped off, but this dude in the 4th round, Dylan, I mean, that's a steal. Maybe you could make that argument if he was taken in the 2nd or maybe 3rd, but for him to drop all the way to the 4th, I think that's a good pick.
I think it was too. I think that's another guy that I would have picked a little bit higher than he was drafted.
So, team to watch out for. And then Elise and Callie obviously get to train in Utah, and MLP being different, that you play with different people than you normally would see. I think that's a really solid women's team. So
yeah,
that's a wrap. My MLP stars of the week on the Tournament of Champions.
Let's see what comes true and what you predicted correctly. That'll do it here at Inside Major League Pickleball. If you can't get enough of Major League Pickleball, which I'm sure is true for most of you, then you can visit MajorLeaguePickleball.net. You can rewatch all of the past events there. You can do your research on the players. You can look at the teams and who they chose. And you can now buy tickets for the Atlanta event in September. Until next week, everyone, paddle taps.
Paddle taps again.
Paddle taps.